Alright, so we got an absolutely fantastic chapter here. Coming off of the previous, we saw Gojo launching a 200% hollow purple at Sukuna with the help of being buffed by Urahime, Gakuganji, and Ichiji. And this only really took off Sukuna's right hand, even though he was caught off guard by that. And that brings us to the beginning of this chapter where he says, "You've let catching me off guard go to your head." And that's because they were able to mask the attack being built up with Ichiji's barrier. But it seems like Sukuna has immediately recovered from that, where off panel he's just using reverse curse technique to grow back his arm. So yeah, that's showing you how powerful Sukuna is here. A 200% hollow purple was only really like a minor inconvenience to him. Then he says, "Satoru Gojo, you're just a fish on a cutting board. You may flop around a lot, but you're still a nameless fish." And it's interesting the way that his hands are when he's saying this, because they resemble the hands that we saw when his two curse techniques were being explained, dismantle and cleave. In the right hand he's holding the dismantle knife, but in the left hand he's using the cleave knife. And that was also in reference to like sushi, the way that this is too, which is interesting. And this could play more into what the truth about Sukuna's abilities are here, or it's just the way that he likes describing his abilities as if he's making sushi or something. But I'll come back to that later. So then they both start charging up and face off against each other. Like we see the cursed energy like emanating from their hands. And Gojo says, "You wanted me to hold back, right? Too bad for you, I've undergone special training. I could totally wail on Megumi, since they look alike," referring to Toji. So before we go further, speaking of Toji, it seems that Gojo is like dressed exactly like him. And obviously it's not a coincidence. And this could be Gojo paying homage to Toji, since Toji is, I guess, directly responsible for Gojo rising to the occasion and becoming as strong as he is right now. But it also could be giving us insight into what Gojo is talking about here with "too bad for you, I've undergone special training." Now, when I first read the spoilers of this, I didn't really know what to make of it. But now that we have the official translation here, I think I know what this means. Because also after this, he says dying once as Yuji was a mistake. Of course, referencing what happened in season 1 after they had run into the first finger barrier. Or at least I assume that's what he's talking about. And he says, "I'll worry about Megumi after I kill you." Hey guys, also, if you enjoy my Jujutsu Kaisen reviews and spoilers, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just needed a reminder, here you go. Thanks. And going back to the spoilers earlier this week, I thought that Gojo was holding back because he was using Megumi as a vessel, and Megumi is like Gojo's nephew essentially. Not literally, but you know what I mean. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, HOFSCO. HOFSCO strives to make the best and reliable electric bikes for bike lovers, helping all cyclists live an active, healthy, and sustainable lifestyle. Their goal is to build a long-lasting brand, get more people on bikes to experience the e-bike smile, and begin an incredible adventure journey. And they're not lying about the e-bike smile, because guys, this is by far one of the best things I've ever received in my life, because this thing is truly incredible and has completely changed my life for the better. Now, I live in the inner city, and since I became a content creator full-time a couple years ago, I no longer saw the need for a car, and I got rid of it, which was like a huge burden off my shoulders. I didn't have to worry about parking, maintenance, gas, insurance. I don't think I've driven a car in like the last 3 years, and I was kind of just taking rideshare apps to get to long distances, and aside from that, I'd of course be walking everywhere in between. But I don't have to worry about that ever again now that I have the HOFSCO HOV City step-through cruiser electric bike. Now, of course, this thing looks incredibly aesthetic. Just taking this out for a 15-minute stroll today, I had people constantly glancing at it. It's a class 2, but can be class 3 unlocked via the HOFSCO app, which is super simple to use. It has a Shimano 7-speed shifter for if you want to go golden boy mode. What I also like to do is pair the shift speeds with the motor on, so I can just go through inclines and hills no problem. And speaking of the motor, it has a 500-watt brushless gear hub motor and goes up to speeds of 28 miles per hour. This thing is incredibly fast. If you live in a city that has electric scooters, this thing blows those things out of the water. So if you think they're fast, this thing takes it to the next level. And you can just tap on the throttle and you're pretty much cruising. You don't even have to pedal. Like, check this out. It was so much fun doing this. It also has a 60-mile range battery, along with a flashlight and super powerful brakes for when you really need them. My girlfriend also really loves this thing because now she can commute to college. Sometimes she had to take the bus or just couldn't find parking in her car. Well, that's not an issue anymore with the Hav City Step-Through Cruiser electric bike. So guys, if you're interested in completely changing your lives for the better and just adding pure fun to your life, check out my link in the description and make sure you use code BIGZ for $100 off your purchase. That's right, $100 off using code Big Z. Oh, by the way, since you're still here, Havsco also has other great products, such as their folding e-bikes, the Hav Beta, which becomes compact and easy to travel, such as if you're putting it in your car, or if you need to store it in your apartment. They also have cargo e-bikes, such as the Hav Cart, if you're ever having a trip to the grocery store, or if you're picking up a package or something. They also have the very affordable Hav Dash e-scooter. Thanks, guys. But it seems like he might not hold back, and he is willing to kill Sukuna, and also kill Megumi by proxy. And that's because I think that Gojo has figured out how to use reverse curse technique on others. And like I said, that could be tying back to why he's paying homage to Toji here, because one of the big revelations in his fight against Toji was him figuring out reverse curse technique on the brink of death after being stabbed in the neck by Toji. So this could be the next level of that, and that now Gojo has figured out how to use reverse curse technique on others, because before this, I think only 2 or 3 characters in the series are able to perform that. I mean, just being able to use reverse curse technique as a sorcerer is already extremely difficult and rare, but using it on others is taking it to the next level. I mean, obviously Shoko can perform this, Akotsu can perform this as well, but now it seems like Gojo has joined that club, and it totally makes sense why he went out of his way to have this training, or at least the time that they had preparing for this battle. He was more so concerned about how to save Megumi. Now, of course, this isn't being confirmed in the chapter. I'm just speculating as to what he's saying here, but I think that's what's going on here. He figured out that the only way that he can really take down Sukuna is that he has to kill him. And holding back is going to be an extreme detriment because he's the strongest sorcerer in history. So if there's anyone you don't want to hold back against, it's him. So he figures, okay, I'm just going to have to kill him. So how do I save Megumi in the process? Oh, I'll just use reverse curse technique on him. So kill Sukuna, then bring Megumi back with reverse curse technique. Now, again, I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what this is coming to, and that's really cool. I think that also raises the stakes in the best way, because I was worried about Gojo having to hold back against Sukuna here. Him never fully going all out, but now that doesn't seem the case, and he is, because he knows that he can save Megumi regardless. So the battle begins, or should I say round 2 begins, and they have like a quick exchange of strikes until Sukuna throws like this right hook at him, similar to how Yuji throws it. I don't know if that was intentional by Gege or if that's just how he likes to draw right hooks, but Gojo like just drops to his back and then starts using Limitless in a really crazy way. So instead of like having the Limitless be a barrier around Gojo, he's now diverting it at Sukuna and like throwing him against the wall. Like Gojo's using Limitless in this chapter as if it's like telekinesis essentially. And again, it's not confirmed. Gege is showing and not telling here, which I really like when mangakas do that, at least when it's clear and it's not so ambiguous or we just don't understand what's going on. But I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. But he winds up launching him through a wall and tracking him down on this bridge, and Gojo just stomps this bridge apart. Like, that's how powerful he is, like physically powerful through his cursed energy amplification. Then he lifts the bridge up, once again, using Limitless like it's telekinesis. Because I assume that he's just manipulating this imaginary force around him. Like, you can almost think of Limitless as gravity, although it's not. But the way that it's described, it's like a imaginary force somewhat. So he can have it like wrapped around him to defend himself, as we've seen plenty of time in the series, or he can use it to manipulate other things. And we see him doing that here with this bridge. And while Sukuna's still on it, he throws it at a building. And Sukuna is able to avoid this, and he starts running on another rooftop. And then he activates Dismantle. And going back to what we were talking about earlier with the whole sushi stuff, where we saw him holding the Dismantle and Cleave knives. And like I said, he was using Dismantle in his right hand. Now, I don't know if this means that he can only use Dismantle with his right hand and only use Cleave with his left, but that would be interesting if he is restricted in that way. It could be, I don't know, some kind of binding vow that he placed on himself in order to use multiple abilities. It also could have something to do with the markings on his body, which I still think probably play into his abilities, and they will probably be explained. I mean, it's also a great way for Gege to just indicate that Sukuna has taken over a person, but there might be more to it than that. But Gojo seemingly avoids this at the last second. Now, I don't know if he's using Limitless to bounce it off of him, or he's just dodging it, and it goes cleanly through a building right behind him. Then Sukuna capitalizes on Gojo while he's distracted by looking at the building falling, and we see that Sukuna makes contact with Gojo's Limitless here, but then Gojo just deactivates it and grabs Sukuna's hand, allowing the building to fall on the both of them. And they go through one of the windows, going through like this elevator shaft or hallway or something. Like, this is something out of the movie Inception. This is going to be a really great scene in the anime. But as they're tumbling through this building, Gojo kind of does his own Jaken Go. Like, I guess this is Gege paying homage to Hunter x Hunter, but in the best way, not in like the psychotic exposition way. But the building winds up falling and just destroying everything in the vicinity. And we see Sukuna and Gojo emerging from the rubble here, completely unharmed, of course, because, you know, they are the two strongest, so it's going to take more than a freaking building falling on them to do much. And Gojo's like, I'm blaming you for all the damage. And Sukuna's like anyone will believe that. And then Gojo remembers that Mei is broadcasting this fight. So yeah, going back to 2 chapters ago, I think, Mei said that she was going to live stream this fight on like the Jujutsu dark web or whatever, or the Jujutsu Tor browser, so that she could have betting odds on it. So yeah, there's like, I don't know how many people watching this, thousands. I don't know if millions, but at least thousands of people are watching this fight and betting on it. Mostly people in the Jujutsu world, I guess, but now there's going to be a bunch of civilians aware of this as well, I guess, because, you know, the whole thing after Shibuya with Japan's cursed energy monopoly being revealed. But Gojo mentioning this at the end is definitely going to come back into play later for sure. Like, it's super important that everyone is viewing this because something substantial is going to happen as a result. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Super exciting chapter. Cannot wait to see what happens in the rest of this fight. But let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.